Hey everybody, it's Nico from Concepts 3D, and today we're going to go through the Athena touchscreen UI. Now I've created a little mock-up here to show the screens of the UI, and we'll go through each one at a time, and I will explain what each one does. There are going to be some differences between the touchscreen UI you see here and the one on the printer, just some minor differences, no animations and things like that on this mock-up. So this is the main loading screen that you'll see when you first power up the printer. It'll scroll that little bar across while it's loading. And once that's loaded in, you'll be brought to the main print menu, and from here you can load a new job, start a new print, and also switch through the other menus to go through the other options. So we'll start with the print menu here. The job list is where all the existing jobs on the printer are shown. So if you wanted to print something that was already loaded on the printer, you would find it here. You can actually scroll the screen with your finger to see the rest of them if there's more than two, or hit the next button to move forward and backwards through the screens. As well, you can delete a job from here, and it'll give you a warning to make sure you want to delete it or not. As well, hitting the print button here will bring up a print preview screen before the actual print starts. So you still have another opportunity to cancel if you misclicked. You can also go in through here and edit the name of the print, and it'll update the print name on the printer itself. And then you can just hit the start button to start the print. Now typically what happens at the beginning of a print is the printer will home itself and then lower itself down to the resin level checking position, where it will actually check the resin level of the printer, of the vat, sorry, to make sure you have enough resin in the vat to print the model you're trying to print. If it doesn't have enough resin, you'll see this warning come up notifying you that the resin level is too low. You can either continue anyways, or you can cancel the print. So we'll hit continue anyways. And this is the main printing screen that you'll see when you're actually printing a job. It'll show the job name, the remaining time, the number of layers, progress bar, resin temperature, as well as the force sensor chart and the 3D preview of the model. And actually the model will actually start filling up in yellow as its position moves along. You can actually click on the chart to bring up a full screen chart. This chart will actually be moving and showing the force as it's printing. And if you click on the 3D model preview, it'll actually show a slice preview, but I don't have that showing here. There's a button on the left hand side that shows statistics. Pressing that will bring up another page, another printing page with more details, showing the last layer time, the last lift height, as the lift height is variable depending on the peel detection. So you'll actually be able to tell if your peel detection is working or not. As well, it shows more temperatures, resin temperature, the UV LED, the MCU, and the CPU, as well as another layer preview, and you can actually switch this to a chart preview as well. Clicking on the statistics button again will bring it back to the main printing page. You also have a pause button here, and it'll pause the job once the layer is completed, and then you can resume or abort the print. There's also an auto shutdown button on the bottom there. It'll actually be yellow when you click it to tell you that it's enabled, or it'll turn white if it's not enabled. It'll be white if it's not enabled. So right now there's no option for me to change that on this mock-up, but that's the way you can tell if it's enabled or not. If it's yellow, it's enabled. If it's white, it's not enabled. When the job is completed, it'll come up with a complete print screen showing you the total print time, the total layers, and it'll ask you if your print was successful and if you want to delete it. So this gives you the option to notify us mostly. So give us some feedback on whether your print was successful or not, and you can actually opt in to send this data to us, so we can start collecting some more information on why the print failed, and we can check into the force data to find out exactly what happened there. If you leave it on no, it'll come up with what was a problem, and there'll be some options here. Right now it's just some random letters, but there'll actually be some options where you can actually check off what the problem was, and then you can either skip or send us the data to our servers, and it'll give you a thank you for your feedback. You can also stop the print. There's another workflow here. It'll ask you if you're sure you want to stop the print if for some reason you're seeing that it's failed or there's some other issue and you want to stop the print early. And it'll actually wait until the layer is finished and the Z-axis is raised up out of the resin and gone to the park position before it'll let you proceed. And it'll actually save your progress. So if you wanted to resume, we haven't actually finished refining this, but there will be an option for you to actually resume a print if it's been failed and you want to be able to, say you ran out of resin or you needed to top it up or something and you had to stop it and come back the next day, the progress is saved, so you can resume from the previous layer you were at. And again, it'll ask you why you stopped this print, give you some options for checking off what exactly happened, and you can send the feedback to us. Now, loading a new job from the USB port on the printer itself, you click on the new job button, and it'll check the USB stick that's in the front USB port of the printer and show you any folders or any model files that are on the USB stick itself. So choosing a folder will just open up the folder and show you some more options. Choosing a model, it'll ask you which resin you want to choose now. These are just arbitrary numbers and letters, but there'll be actually all your resin profiles will be listed here. So you'll be able to pick a pre-made profile that we already have loaded up on the printer, or one of your own from this list. It'll also give you the print preview again with the option to edit the file name if you want to and start the print, or you can just cancel it and it'll just start slicing and then show the print and the print job list here. Now, you won't be able to start a print while it's slicing on the printer at this time, so you have to actually wait for the printer itself to slice the STL file if you load an STL file, and so then you'll have the option to actually print the file. Right now, there's no indication on what the slicing progress is on the web on the touchscreen, so you'll have to actually go to the web UI to see the progress of slicing. But we do plan on implementing some progress indication on the touchscreen itself to show you what the slicing status is. If you load a nano DLP file from Nano Support or from Lychee when Lychee support is added, there's no need to slice anything. The file will be ready to print immediately after loading it. Moving on to the control page. This is where you control the hardware of the printer. You'll have the option to move the plate. So there's the move plate screen. This is our slider bar here, where you can actually slide this bar up and down and the printer will move to that position. But before you can do any movements at all, you'll have to hit the home button. This is a limitation of Clipper. It wants to make sure you knows the position of the axis before it allows movement. So the first thing you'll have to do if you ever want to move the plate and it hasn't been run before is home the Z-axis. And this will let the Z-axis raise up to the top limit switch and home the printer. Then you can use a slider bar in the middle here to slide up and down, or using the different step values and the up and down arrows, you can actually move the Z-axis manually up and down. There's a stop button if for some reason it's moving and it's going to crash, or you want to stop the movement. Pressing the stop button will actually kill Clipper. It'll actually put it into a reset state. So the printer will actually completely stop, and it will reboot Clipper again, and then you'll have to home the printer again after pressing stop because it'll have lost its position. Park is a user adjustable position for the Z-axis. At the end of a print, the Z-axis will go to the park position, and that's something you can set. So if you wanted to go all the way to home, maybe you wanted to go up 200 millimeters, you'll have the option to set that in the printer itself and choose where you want the park position to be. Currently, by default, the park position is 5 millimeters lower than the end stop. The floor button moves the plate down to the very bottom of its travel. So basically where you would start the print or where you would level the plate. So the floor button is what you would use if you want to move the Z-axis all the way down, or if you want to do the build plate leveling. So what you would do before starting the leveling procedure, you would loosen off the 4 bolts of the build plate, and then you would hit the floor button and they would lower down, and then you could tighten up those bolts. We'll go into more depth explaining the leveling procedure in another video. Just for now, you can just be aware of the floor button there. Then we have the tank clean page. So this page allows you to turn on the UV LED, full white screen on the LCD, and it'll actually cure a layer. And what the purpose of this is to cure any debris that might be in the vat itself. So for example, if you had a failed print, there might be a little bit of a support or a little bit of a model stuck to the film of the vat at the bottom. So using the tank clean function will actually expose that whole layer on the very bottom of the vat and allow you to peel that bottom layer out and ensure that all the floating bits get stuck to that cured layer. So pressing that start cleaning button will start the procedure, and the cleaning time is actually determined by the burn-in layer of the default resin profile. So whatever your default resin profile on your printer is, the burn-in time for the initial layers is what the time will be for the tank cleaning function. Pressing the start cleaning function, it'll start counting down, and this clock will actually start counting down, letting you know how much time is left. And when it's done, it'll say it's been cleaned successfully. We also have the hardware page, which gives you more control and testing over the different hardware features on the printer. For example, the RGB lighting at the back of the column, you'll be able to slide these bars around to change the color. Just manually set the color to whatever you'd like. If you want to take some photographs or some video and you want it to be a certain color, otherwise the colors will change automatically depending on the state of the printer. And we can go into more detail on exactly what each color means in another video. There's a display test button, or a display test screen, and here you can test your monochrome display to see if it's working correctly, if you can show the Athena logo, if you can see a grid. You can turn on and off the UV LED or set it to full white. You have full control over those options just to test your display. There's also a fan test function where you can turn on and off the fans just to make sure they're all working correctly. And then the heater control, this will be expanded in the future to have a lot more options. For now, you can just turn the heater on and off, and you set the heater temperature in the resin profile that you want to use, and it'll heat the chamber to that temperature. But manually, if you want to just test the heater out, you can turn it on and off through this interface here and see that it's working. So going back, we have the chart page. So this will be a full screen chart. It'll actually be moving and changing as it goes, and as you apply pressure to the build arm, you'll see that shown here in the graph. It'll show the current force as well as a button for zeroing the force. So it tends to drift over time. So you don't have to zero it yourself. It's just something that if you want to do for testing purposes, you can actually zero it to so that the line is actually at 0 instead of being offset by whatever value it had drifted to. We also have the G-code console. So here you would see all the G-code commands that have been sent to the printer, and as well you can type in your own G-code command and send it to the printer to control whatever you wanted to manually through G-code. And then finally the camera page. Camera page is empty right now. There's nothing implemented at this time. We do plan on adding this feature soon and releasing a camera for the printer, but it should support any Pi based camera. So anything that's compatible with the Raspberry Pi will be able to be used, and you'll be able to see the image on this page as well as the web dashboard. There'll be a camera page on there as well, so you can actually check in on the print while it's running. So that's the control page. And we have the settings page. And here we have resin, network, software, and machine settings. The resin page allows you to see your list of all your resin profiles that are on the printer, and you can actually go in and adjust them, delete them. If you go into the actual resin settings, you can adjust some of the parameters on the touchscreen itself. It won't give you access to all the parameters, but just the basic ones are available here. And you can actually slide these sliders around to change the number, or you can actually click on the value and type in a number manually. As well, we have the network page. So this is where you would go in and set up your network. If you have Ethernet, you just plug it into the back of the printer and it'll automatically connect to the network and you won't have to do any setting up. But if you want to set up the Wi-Fi, this is where you would go and do it. So initially when you first get the printer, this is one of the first things you want to do is either connect it to Ethernet or set it up on the Wi-Fi. And so you go to this network page, scan for Wi-Fi. So you'll see a list of all the available SSIDs or routers near you. You find the one with the highest signal strength. So you can see the bars on the icons themselves, and find the one with the highest signal strength and choose that one to get the best performance. Click on that, it'll ask you for your password. So you type in the network password here, hit submit, and now it'll connect it to the network and give you all the details of your IP address, the signal strength, your Wi-Fi name, as well as the host name. Now the host name is unique to each printer. When we're doing the final assembly and testing, each printer gets assigned a host name, and the host name is based on a descriptive positive trait as well as a flower, so a yellow flower, I believe. So you'll find out what your host name is when you get your printer. It'll actually be printed on the label of the back of the printer, and as well you'll be able to see it here. Now you can actually use this host name in your browser to find the printer on the network without knowing the IP address. So just typing in descriptive-flower.local should pull up the web UI on your browser on any computer in your local network. Or alternatively, you can type in the IP address that you would see here. There's also a QR code here. You can scan with your phone to find out what the IP address is and connect to the web UI via your phone browser and access the web UI from your phone. There's a software page, which is actually the software update page. This allows you to update your software, whether it be the main OS on the printer, whether it be a new update for the touchscreen or a new update to Nano DLP itself. Those options will be shown here. You'll be able to see what versions you're on for each different available update, and there's a main button here at the bottom that allows you to update all of them at once. So we'll be testing each update before we push it to customers to make sure it's working correctly, and then you'll see the option to update when you come to the page. Clicking on update will update the build numbers, and then it'll tell you if there's no updates available as well. And then finally, the machine settings, pretty basic for now. We might add some more options here in the future, but right now you can set it from Celsius to Fahrenheit for temperature units and do a system restart or system shutdown. Now, a system restart will just reboot the whole printer. A system shutdown will actually shut down the Raspberry Pi and then actually physically turn off the printer itself through our smart power board. You can also do this from the web UI, either restart or shut down, or alternatively, at the end of a print, you can have the auto shutdown enabled and it'll automatically shut the printer down. Or you can still use the front panel button to turn on and off the printer. And then finally, we have the help page. Right now, there's not a lot to the help page. We haven't really finished this at all, so we need to do some more work on here. But there'll be two options. Asking for help, there'll be an address here, a code shown, and you'll be actually able to give us this code, and we'll be able to connect to your printer remotely to download any log files or test things out, find out exactly what's going on. So you would send us this code, and then there'll be an option when we try to connect, asking you if you would allow us to connect to your printer. As well as there's a how to use page. Now we're going to go into a lot more depth in development on this page in the future, but basically there'll be options here on how to do different things on the printer itself. For example, leveling the build plate, maybe some printer workflow, how to do maintenance, things like that. So I'll be listed here as a video. So there'll be options to actually click on these, and it'll pull up a video screen, and you'll be able to play and slide through and watch a video on your printer or the web UI to see how to do these different things. And as well, we can have text or different options here to actually provide help and how-tos to our customers. So that's basically it for the touchscreen UI for now. Oh, obviously here in the top right-hand corner, we also have the temperature, the Wi-Fi connection status, and our Athena logo. At any time, you can actually click on that Wi-Fi icon to go to the network page directly as well. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it was helpful on your new Athena printer, and please feel free to reach out to us at any time if you need any support or have any questions.